included in this course are number concepts, fractions, decimals, percentages, consumer arithmetic, sets, measurement, algebra, statistics, and introduction to graphs. After completing this course, you should be able to understand and answer 60% of CSEC questions. The next 40, you can get it from my TikTok page. Now, every topic will follow the same structure. You have clear explanations, worked examples, especially CSEC style questions with full solutions. You can pause, you can rewind, you can rewatch as many times as you need, go at your pace. This course is designed for you to pass CSEC maths. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab a calculator, take your time, trust the process, and let's begin. Alright, so topic 1 from the CSEC syllabus. You'll be able to work confidently with integers, fractions, and decimals. You'll be able to find the lowest common multiple and highest common factor. You'll be able to use prime factorization. And lastly, you'll be able to apply number rules in exam questions. CSEC assumes that students already understand topic 1 number theory, but many don't. And mistakes here causes failure later on in other topics such as fractions, algebra, percentages, measurements, and every other topic, because this is the foundation of maths. What are integers? Integers are numbers that cannot be fractions or decimals. What they are is, they are positive numbers, 0, and they can be negative numbers. For example, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In school, we learn this with the number line method. As you approach the left, the numbers get smaller and smaller. So even though 5 is greater than 2, -5 is less than 2. So from the number line here, -5 is the smallest, and then -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Now here's an exam question. Arrange the following numbers in ascending order. So ascending means increasing. But think, in integers, you first start with negative, and then 0, and then positive. Positive is the highest value number. Negative is the lowest value, and 0 is the midpoint. So the lowest number here is -4. And then the next negative number, -1, and then 0, and then +3. Here's another exam question regarding integers. Evaluate -6 plus 9. So you have -6, and you make, let me see, you're at -6, and then you make 9 steps to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is -5, then -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So when you evaluate this, the answer is +3. To end the integer section, the most common mistake students make is thinking that a number like -8 is greater than -3. This is not the case, because the number -3 is closer to 0. It's closer to 0. So once a number is closer to 0, when it's negative, it is larger. Lesson 2, factors. A factor is a number that can divide into another number without leaving a remainder. So for example, the number 24, 1 goes into 24 24 times without leaving a remainder. 2 goes into 24 12 times without leaving a remainder. 3 goes into 24 8 times without leaving a remainder. 4 goes into 24 6 times without leaving a remainder. But 5, if 5 is divided into 24, it goes into it 4 times and also leaving 4 as a remainder. So 5 is not a factor. Okay, a multiple choice question in the exam might ask you to choose the list of factors for a number like 24. So you would pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and the number itself. Now, here's an exam question. Which of the following is a factor of 18? A, 4, B, 6, C, 9, and D, 12. Let's check 4. 4 goes into 18 4 times, but it leaves a remainder of 2. 6 goes into 18 3 times and leaves no remainder. 9 goes into 18 2 times and leaves remainder 0. 12 goes into 18 1 time and leaves remainder 6. And remember what a factor is. A factor is a number that divides into another number, leaving no remainder. So from here, the correct options are 6 and 9. And CSEC also allows for multiple answers. So the answers for this question, 6 and 9. Now, the next lesson is prime numbers. A prime number is a number that is greater than 1 and it has exactly 2 factors, 1 and itself. So for example, numbers 3, 2, 5, 7, and 11. Number 2 is a prime number because only 1 and 2 can go into it. 3, only 1 and 3 can go into it. 5, only 1 and 5 can go into 5. 7, only 1 and 7 can go into 7. 11, only 1 and 11 can go into 11. Now, a common CSEC question. You have to know that 1 is not a prime number because it only has one factor, 1. This is very common in CSEC. Now, composite number. A composite number is a number with more than 2 factors. So for example, the number 12 has factors 1, 4, 6, and 12. These numbers can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. And number 6, common factors 1, 2, 3, 6. More than 2 numbers can go into 6 without leaving a remainder. So that's why it's also a composite number. And the number 8, 1 can go into 8 without leaving a remainder. 2, 4, and itself. 8 can go into 8 as well without leaving a remainder. Here's the last lesson for this topic. Prime factorization. Prime factorization is the process of breaking down a whole number into a product of its prime factors. So remember what prime numbers are. Prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by 1 and itself. So here we're tasked with prime factorizing the number 60. So 60 divided by 2. 2 goes into 60 30 times without leaving a remainder. Then 2 goes into 30 15 times without leaving a remainder. But at 15, 2 can no longer divide into 15 without leaving a remainder. So we use 3. 3 goes into 15 5 times without leaving a remainder. And then at 5, 3 cannot go into 5 without leaving a remainder. So now 5 into 5 goes into it 1 time, leaving remainder 0. So the answer is 2 to the 2 power times 3 times 5. 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. At this point, we've completed lesson 1 in topic 1 of the CSEC math syllabus. So we're exam ready. So, exam question. Find the HCF and LCM of 48 and 72. So first we're using ladder method. 2 goes into 48 24 times without leaving a remainder. 24. 2 goes into 24. 2 goes into 24 12 times without leaving a remainder. 2 also goes into 12 6 times again without leaving a remainder. Then 2 goes into 6 3 times without leaving a remainder. Now 3 goes into 3 1 time without leaving a remainder. And then for 72, 2 goes into 72 36 times without leaving a remainder. 2 again goes into 36 18 times without leaving a remainder. 2 goes into 18 9 times without leaving a remainder. Now 3 goes into 9 3 times without leaving a remainder. 3. And then 3 goes into 3 again 1 time without leaving a remainder. Now to answer, highest common factor of 48, you look at the table, the largest number that can go into 48 without leaving a remainder is 24. 24. And then lowest common multiple of 48, you search for the highest power and multiply it by the 48. So up here, we started off with 2 with 48. 2 times 48 is the lowest common multiple. 2 times 48 is 96. And then highest common factor of 72. Look at the table. The largest number that can go into 72 without leaving a remainder, 36. Now lowest common multiple of 72. You search for the highest power, 2. 2 times 72 is 144. And that's simple maths. Now we're at module 1, topic 2 for CSEC maths, computation. At the end of this topic of computation, you should be able to carry out calculations accurately. You should apply the order of operations. You should be able to work confidently with numbers. You should use estimations to check answers. And lastly, you will avoid common computation traps set out by CSEC. Now the first topic in computation that we'll be going through is addition. When you're doing addition, the numbers should align vertically. So for example, 23.7 and then plus 4.86 plus 6. 6 is being added with another number, but it's not there. It's 0. 23.7, once you see 7 and nothing comes after it, is a 0 there. So 6 plus 0 is 6. And then 8 plus 7 is 15. So you put down 5, carry over the 1 in the 10th place, then put back the point. 4 plus 3 plus 1, that was carried over, that's 8. And then 2 plus 0, or actually it's 20 plus 0, and that's the answer, 28.56. Now our second operation is subtraction. Again, numbers should align vertically with each other. So first we put down 50.0 because there's one decimal place, and then 18.7, the number subtracting from the 50, minus. So you have 7 and 0 here. You cannot subtract 7 from 0. So you have to carry over numbers. So 5, cross out 5, put 4, because you're carrying over 1 over here, but there's still 0 at this decimal. So cross out this again, then you have 9 left, and then now this is 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. Put back the decimal. 9 minus 8 is 1. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. So the answer is 31.3. Now our third operation is multiplication. So 3.6 times 4. Align the numbers vertically. 3.6 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Put down the 4. Carry over the 2. Put back the point here. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 2. So that's 14.4. Now we're at the fourth operation, division. So here we have 12 divided by 0.4. What I recommend is to get rid of the decimal before you do the division. So 12 times 10 is 120 divided by 10 times 0.4 is 4. Now you can divide comfortably. So 4 and 120. 4 cannot go into 1, so 4 goes into 12 3 times, and then 4 into 0 0 times. So the answer is 30. Now let's learn about addition and subtraction. When you're adding a negative with another negative, the result is negative. So negative 7 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 12. Now negative plus a positive. Negative 9 plus 4 becomes negative 5. 6 minus minus 3, if you have a minus sign in front of another minus, it becomes positive. So now it's 6 plus 3, and that's 9. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 2 plus a positive number 2 is 0. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Negative 2 minus minus 2. So this becomes negative 2 plus 2, and that's 0. Now 2 minus minus 10, it actually becomes 2 plus 10. So that is 12. Now for multiplication and division, when you multiply a negative by another negative number, it becomes positive. So negative 4 times negative 6 becomes positive 24. This is a common mistake students make. If you have a negative number being squared and it's not in bracket, the result is negative. So negative 2 squared is negative 4. But here, negative 2 is inside bracket and it's being squared. So negative 2 in bracket squared is positive 4. Now here we have a negative times a positive number. Negative 4 times positive 6 gives you a negative number, negative 24. And now you have a positive number being divided by a negative number. 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Negative divided by a negative becomes positive. So negative 3 divided by negative 6 divided by negative 3 is negative positive 2. Sorry, positive 2. Now we have a positive number divided by a positive number. 5 divided by a 1 yields positive. Now we have negative 1 squared, and it's not in bracket. Remember, if a number is being squared and it's negative and not in bracket, the result is negative. So negative 1 squared is negative 1. Now here, the negative 1 is in bracket and it's being squared. So negative 1 in bracket squared is positive 1. Now this is the most important concept for every math problem that you are going to be doing. BODMAS. It stands for brackets, orders, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. In this order is how you will do every math problem. You work the brackets first. After brackets, you do the orders, otherwise known as powers. After that, you do the division, and then multiplication and addition. The last thing you do in any math problem is subtraction. Leave that for last. Now here's an exam question to master BOMDAS. Simplify. 8 plus 12 divided by 3 times, in bracket, 5 squared minus 8. First, you do the order inside the bracket. So 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Now we have 8 plus 12 divided by 3 times 25 in bracket minus 8. Solve inside the bracket. 25 minus 8 is 17. So now we have 8 plus 12 divided by 3 times 17. And from here, multiplication and division hold the same value. So you have to move from left to right. So division will come first here. So now 8 plus 4, because we divide the 12 by 3. So 8 plus 4 times 17. Now multiply 4 by 17 because multiplication comes before addition. So 4 times 17 is 68. So now we have 8 plus 68, and the answer is 76. Now estimation and reasonableness. Under this, questions come worded and logical, like a pen costs $49.75. What is the cost of 6 pence? It would be 6 times 49.75, and that's equal to $298.50. Now it says a pen costs $49.75. How many pens can I get for $500? You divide. So 500 0 cents divided by 49.75, and the answer is 10.05. But you cannot buy 0.5 pence. So the answer is 10 pence you can buy with $500. Now we're at Module 1, Topic 3, Consumer Arithmetic. This is about percentages, profit, loss, discount, commission, and simple interest. Firstly, what does percent mean? Percent means out of 100. So 20% is 20 over 100. 60% is 60 over 100. 90% is 90 over 100. Convert a percentage to a decimal or a fraction. All you do is just divide by 100. So 35% as a fraction is 35 over 100. Or as a fraction, you move the decimal places 2 spaces to the left, so that's 0.35. To express 20% as a fraction, you just divide it by 100, so that's 20 over 100, or 0.20 as a decimal. To express a decimal as a percentage, you multiply the decimal by 100, so 0.08 times 100, or moving 2 decimal places to the left. This is 8%. 0.25 times 100, 25%. 0.001 times 100 is 0.1%. 0.046 is 4.6%. But to turn these back into fractions, just divide by 100. So this is 8 over 100, 25 over 100, 0.1 over 100, 4.6 over 100. Now here's an exam question. What percent of 80 is 12? To express this as a fraction, you just put 12 over 80. But they want it as a percentage. So you have to multiply by 100. So it becomes 1200 over 80%. And that's equal to 1200 divided by 80 is 15. So the answer is 15%. Now under consumer arithmetic, we're at profit and loss. Cost price, CP, is what you buy something for. The selling price is how much you sell it for. Profit is equal to the selling price minus CP. Loss is equal to cost price, CP, minus selling price, SP. The percentage profit is equal to the profit divided by the cost price times 100. Now here's an exam question on the profit and loss. A phone costs $8,000 and is sold for $9,600. What is the profit? Remember, the profit is the selling price minus the cost price. So $9,600 minus $8,000. So the profit is $1,600. Now what is the profit percentage? The profit percentage is the profit divided by the selling price times 100. So $1,600 divided by $8,000 is 20%. Now here's an exam question for loss. A chair costs $5,000 and is sold for $4,250. The loss is the cost price minus the selling price. 5,000 minus 4,250. So the loss is $750. Now the loss percent is the loss divided by the cost price. 750 divided by 5,000 times 100, and that's 15% loss. Now under consumer arithmetic, we've reached a discount. Discount means reduction from the marked price. The key terms you have to know under this section is marked price. Marked price means the original price. Discount is the amount reduced from the marked price. And the selling price is the final price after the discount. Now here's a discount problem. A shirt costs $4,000 and it is discounted by 15%. First you have to find the discount. The discount is 0.15 times 4,000, and that's equal to $600 for the discount. Now the selling price is the discount subtracted from the original price. So $4,000 minus $600 is equal to $3,400 for the selling price. Now here's an exam question on the consumer arithmetic discount. An item is discounted by 20% and sold for $2,400. Find the marked price. If it is discounted by 20%, that means it was sold at 80% of the marked price. So the formula is 0.8 times the marked price, MP, is equal to 2,400. Now solving for the marked price, MP, you have to divide both sides by 0.8 to have the MP by itself on one side. So MP is now equal to 2,400 divided by 0.8. So MP is equal to $3,000. Now, Module 1, Topic 3, Consumer Arithmetic, we've reached commission. Commission is the money paid to a worker based on sales. And the formula for commission is equal to rate times sales. Now we're at simple interest, a very popular topic in paper 2 for CSEC maths. Simple interest is equal to PRT. P is equal to the principal, R is equal to rate expressed as decimals, and T is equal to time in years. And total amount is equal to the principal plus the interest. Now here's an exam question to close off this topic. Find the simple interest at $18,000 at 5% per annum for 2.5 years. Remember, the simple interest formula is I is equal to PRT. So P is equal to 18,000. The rate is equal to 5%, but in decimals it is 0.05. The time is equal to 2.5 years, and that is equal to 2.5. So now the simple interest is equal to 18,000 times 0.05 times 2.5, and that is equal to $2,250. Now if they ask for the final amount is equal to the principal, which is 18,000, plus the interest, 2,250, and that's equal to $20,250. Now this is topic 4, module 1, sets. A set is a collection of objects or numbers called elements. Here's an example. A, 2, 4, 6, 8. Here, A is a set, and the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8 are the elements. Now these symbols, epsilon means that something is an element of. But epsilon with a cross means that something is not an element of. For example, 6 epsilon A means that 6 is an element of A. But 7 epsilon cross A means that 7 is not an element of A. Everything about sets, the complete multiple choice questions. So the types of sets. You have the universal set. This set contains every element. You have empty set, which is just a set that is empty. You have equal sets. For example, A is 1, 2, 3. B is also 1, 2, 3. So that means A is equal to B. Equal sets. And then you have subset. It means that one set is just a smaller part of another set. So for example, A contains 1, 2. B contains 1, 2, 3, 4. So A is a subset of B. This is a symbol for subset. It's a C-shaped symbol. Now, here's a question. Given the universal set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, state whether the set A is a subset of the universal set. So A contains 2 and 4, but the universal set contains 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, A is a subset of U. Now Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is a diagram using circles to show relationships between sets. Here we have two sets. Set U contains the numbers 1 and negative 10, but the set A contains the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. Although you see the letter U, don't let it confuse you. A universal set is a set that contains every number, but this U contains only 1 and minus 10, so it's not a universal set. Now we're at operations on sets. So the first operation is A union B. Union means that you join both sets together. So in A you have 1, 2, 3, in B you have 3, 4, 5. So A union B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And second operation is intersection. So A intersects B, the elements common to both sets. So A union B, 3 is common in both sets, so the answer is 3, A union B. And then complement. Complement means everything in the universal set that is not included in a set that you choose to complement. So for example, the union contains the numbers 1 to 10, but A contains the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. So A complement will be all the numbers in the universal set that are not in A. So A complement is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. An exam question. In a group of 40 students, 25 like football, call that set A, 18 like basketball, call that set B, and 10 like both football and basketball. A intersects B. How many like neither football and basketball? So to do this, it is equal to 25 plus 18 minus 10 equals 33. That's the students that like either football and basketball. So the number of students that like neither football or basketball is 40 from the group of 40 students minus the 33 that like either football and basketball, and that's equal to 7. So topic 5, algebra. An algebraic expression contains numbers, letters, but you can call them variables like x and y, and operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So normally, when you see a question like this, saying 3x plus 5 is equal to 0, it wants you to get x by itself on one side and find out what it is equal to. So 3x plus 5. To get x by itself, you have to first bring 5 over here. But when you bring it over, the sign changes. So it becomes 3x equals negative 5. And then to solve for x, you have to divide both sides by 3. So negative 5 over 3. So x is equal to negative 5 over 3. Now here, we have different variables. We have x, and we have y, and we have numbers without letters. You call them constants, 10 and 2. If the letters are different, you can't do anything with them unless they are multiplying or dividing. But since they're adding, you have to group the like variables together, like x plus 5x, 4y minus 8y. So here, x plus 5x is equal to 6x, 4y minus 8y equal to negative 4y, plus 10 is equal to 2. And from here, we can just have the variables on one side. So 6x minus 4y is equal to, when you bring the 10 over to the other side, it becomes a negative. So negative 10 plus 2. So 6x minus 4y is equal to negative 8. And this is a simplification question because you can't solve and find a final answer. This is a simplification question because you cannot solve it to find one final answer. So 6x minus 4y is equal to negative 8. Now laws of indices. X raised to a power m times x raised to the power n. By the way, to operate using the laws of indices, the numbers have to have the same base. Like x, if it was x and y, this law couldn't work. So x to the m times x to the n, what you do with the powers is you just add them. So this is equal to x raised to the m plus n. Now if you're dividing them, you subtract. So x to the m divided by x to the n is equal to x to the m minus n. And then if they're in bracket now, x to the m in bracket, and then outside you have it raised to another power n, it is equal to x raised to the m times n. Now simplify, x to the 3 times x to the 5th. This is equal to x to the 3 plus 5. So it's equal to x to the 8. And now x to the 7 divided by x to the 2 is equal to x to the 7 minus 2. So this is x to the 5th. So here's an exam question to master this topic. 4 to the 4n divided by 4 to the minus 3 is equal to 1 over 4. We cannot operate using the laws of indices because the bases are not the same. On the left side we have 4, 4, but on the right side we have 1 over 4. Second line, 4 to the 4n divided by 4 to the minus 3 is equal to 4 to the minus 1. 4 to the minus 1 is the same as 1 over 4. So now we have the same base, 4, 4, and 4. So now we can operate using the laws of indices. So now 4n minus 3 is equal to negative 1. When you have a negative and a negative together, it becomes positive. So next line we have 4n plus 3 is equal to negative 1. Then 4n, you bring the positive 3 over to the other side, so it becomes negative. So 4n is equal to negative 1 minus 3. Now 4n is equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by 4 to get n by itself. So n is equal to negative 1. Factorization, very common in CSEC paper 2 and also paper 1. Factorization means to turn an expression into its bracket form. So factorizing 6x plus 12. Common factor here is 6. So when you factor out 6, in bracket you have x plus 2. Factoring xy squared plus x squared y. This is an exam question. The common factors here in both expressions is xy. So factoring xy, you get y is still on the left side plus x on the right side. And then here, factorizing 5x minus 10. 5 is common in both terms. So when you factor out 5, you have x on the left side minus 2. It's time to master factorization. So, quadratic expressions are in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 0. So the first question is to factorize x squared plus 7x plus 10. We have to find two numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7. So the two numbers are 5 and 7. So now we write x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. So right here we can factor out a common term x. When we factor out x, we're left with x plus 2 in bracket and then plus. Common term here is 5. Factor out 5, we have x plus 2 in bracket. So when we factorize this, we get x plus 2 and x plus 5. And now here's another one. X squared minus 3x minus 10. We have to find a number that multiplies, find two numbers that multiply to minus 10 and add to minus 3. Those two numbers are negative 5 and 2. So now we write x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 10. Factor the x for the first two expressions. We have x in bracket x plus 2. And then factor out 5 in the next two terms, negative 5, and we left in bracket x plus 2. So when we factorize x squared minus 3x minus 10, we get x plus 2 and x minus 5. Now this is the last part of factorization for the expression ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is greater than 1. So here we have 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. First we multiply a times c, so 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And then we have to find two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to 7, the middle term. Those two numbers are 6 and 1. So we have to split the middle term. So now we have 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3. Factor in the first two terms. The common term is 2x. So when we factor 2x, we have x plus 3 in bracket. And then plus, the common factor for x plus 3 is 1. So factor out 1, and then in bracket you have x plus 3. So now you have x plus 3 and x plus 3. So you can just write the final answer. Now we have 2x plus 1 and x plus 3. Now here's the last topic in algebra, inequalities. You have to know these symbols. This symbol means greater than. This symbol means less than. This symbol is greater than or equal to, and this is less than or equal to. Here are some questions. X plus 3 is less than 10. When you bring 3 over to the other side, it becomes a negative. So 10 minus 3, x is less than 7. So here we have negative 2x is greater than 6. When you divide both sides by negative 2, the sign changes. So negative 2x divided by negative 2, it turns into less than 6 over negative 2. So the answer is x is less than negative 3. My final tip for the algebra topic. Algebra is step by step. Even if you don't reach the correct final answer, you earn a lot of marks for writing the solution steps. Now we're at the sixth topic, measurements. At the end of this topic, you should be able to use SI units correctly. You should be able to convert between units. You should be able to calculate perimeter, area, and volume for different shapes. You should be able to solve real-life measurement problems. And you should be able to use correct units and working. Here's a list of measurements and unit conversions that CSEC requires you to know by heart for your maths exam. For length, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters, 1 meter is equal to 1000 centimeters, 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. For mass, 1 kilogram is equal to 1000 grams, 1 gram is equal to 1000 milligram, 1 pound is equal to 16 ounce, and for area, 1 meter squared is equal to 10,000 centimeters squared, 1 centimeter squared is equal to 100 millimeters squared, 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters squared. And for volume, 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliter, 1 milliliter is equal to 1 centimeters cube, 1 meter cube is equal to 1000 liters. And for time, 1 minute is 60 seconds, 1 hour is 60 minutes, 1 day is 24 hours, and 1 year is 365 days. And remember the units, and you should know how to convert to and from. Exam style questions. 450 centimeters converted to meters. You have to divide 450 by 100. So 450 centimeters divided by 100 is 4.5 meters. Now 3.2 kilometers to meters. You have to divide 3.2 kilometers by 1000 to convert it to meters. So that's 3200 meters. Now 600 millimeters to meters. You have to divide 600 by 1000 to convert millimeters to meters. So that's 0.6 meters. Additionally, you must know the area formulas for the following shapes. So first, rectangle The area for a rectangle is length times width. The area for a square is one side times another side. The area for a triangle is half base times height. And the area for a parallelogram is base times height. You also have to know that the area of a circle is pi times its radius squared. And the arc length of a semicircle is pi times r, its radius. Also, if you want to find the area of a semicircle, use the same formula, pi r squared, but you have to divide it by 2 because it is half a circle and not a full circle. Here's a beautiful house that I drew. It is 10 meters wide, it has a door, it has a window. Also, say the door is like 3 meters, I don't know. The window is also 3 by 3 meters. It's a big window. So we have all these dimensions inside. And also pi is equal to 22/7. So the shapes we have a triangle inside with some dimensions. We have this semicircle here, the window, the door. But what we're mostly concerned about is the shapes that are outside, like this box and this semicircle. So the house is 10 meters wide and 9 meters long. And we have this semicircle. The diameter of the semicircle is also 10 meters. So we need to find the semicircle distance. You always have to calculate this. And they give you pi being a value like 22/7. So to calculate the semicircle distance, it's pi times the diameter divided by 2, because it's a semicircle, you have to divide it by 2. So 22/7 times 10/2 is equal to 15.7143. And then when you're finding the perimeter now, you add the distance outside. So 9 meters here, and 10 meters here, the 9 meters here, and then the semicircle distance completes the loop. So 9 meters plus 9 meters plus 10 meters plus 15.7143 is equal to 43.7143 meters. Here's an example for finding the volume of a cylinder. So we have the radius, we have the height. These are volume formulas that CSEC requires you to know. So for cuboid, the volume is length times width times height, and for cube, it's similar, length times width times height, 3 of its sides. Now for cylinder, volume formula is pi r squared times its height, and for sphere, the volume is 4/3 times pi times its radius cubed. 0.7143 centimeters cubed. Now, the area of a triangle, we have 3 millimeters for the height, 4 millimeters for the base. The area for a triangle is half base times height, and that's equal to half times 4 millimeters times 3 millimeters. And this is equal to 6 millimeters squared. Now, we're at time, distance, and speed. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. Now here's an exam style question. A car travels at 120 kilometers in 2 hours. Find its speed in meters per second. So again, speed is equal to distance divided by time, but they want it in meters per second. Remember, 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So I have to multiply the kilometers by 1,000 to convert it into meters. And now 2 hours, 60 seconds. 60 seconds makes 1 minute, 60 minutes make 1 hour. 60 times 60 is 3,600. 3,600 seconds is equal to 1 hour. So after this,
so the speed is equal to 16.67 meters per second.
These are my tips for the measurement topic. First, make sure to always write units. Secondly, convert first and calculate after. Third, show the formulas before you substitute. And last, use the correct values of pi that they give you. Measurement is all about formulas and units. Just make sure you use the correct formulas and units and the marks will follow. We're at topic 7 of module 1, CSEC Math Syllabus Statistics. At the end of this topic, you should be able to organize data, use frequency tables, calculate mean, median, mode, draw and interpret bar charts, answer simple questions from data. Now you will learn to organize data. So, raw data is data that is not organized. For example, 2532654. Organized data now is data that is arranged in a table or chart. Frequency is how many times a value appears. Now we're tasked with doing this question. Construct a frequency table from the previous list. So here, we're going to make an organized data. So, first thing, we're going to write a column that says marks and a second column that has frequency. So, write the number 2 on the mark, and the frequency for 2 is 2 because it appears 2 times. And then mark 3, 3 appears 1 time. So frequency for mark 3 is 1. And then for mark 4, the frequency is 1. In mark 5, the frequency is 2 since it appears 2 times. And then mark 6, frequency is 1. Here's the table. So mark 2, frequency 2, mark 3, frequency 1, mark 4, frequency 1, mark 5, frequency 2, mark 6, frequency 1, mark 7, frequency 0. It doesn't need to be here. Alright, this is 90% of everything you need for CSEC Maths exam. So median is equal to the middle value when the data is arranged in order. The mode is the value that occurs most frequently in the table. The range is how spread out the data is. It is equal to the highest value minus the lowest value. The cumulative frequency is the running total of the frequency. The mean is the average value. This is equal to the sum of values divided by the number of values that are there. But for the frequency table, the mean is equal to the sum of the frequency times the value divided by the sum of the frequency. Here's a question to master this topic. So we have the frequency table with X and F, the values and the frequency. CSEC will ask you to complete the cumulative frequency table, find the range, mode, median, and mean. So first, you have to complete the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency is the running total for the frequency. So first we started off frequency 2, then 4 plus 2 is 6, 3 plus 6, 9. 9 frequencies, 9 occurrences of the values. Now the range is the highest value minus the lowest value. So the highest value is 7 and minus 5. So the range is 2. The mode is the value that occurs the most. So 5 occurs 2 times, 7 occurs 3 times, 6 occurs 4 times. So the mode is 6. Median is the value that's in the middle when the data is arranged. So you have 9 values here. 5 occurs the first 2 times. The middle of 9, by the way, is the 5th value. Then you have 6. So you have 6, 6, 6. 6 is in the 5th place. So the median is 6. But now to find the mean, the formula for the mean is the sum of f times x divided by the sum of f. Frequency times the value divided by the sum of the frequency. Sum of the frequency, we have it already, is 9. Now we have to find f times x. F times x is just multiplying x times x. x times f. So 5 times 2 is 10, 6 times 4 is 24, 7 times 3 21. When you sum this up, you get 21 plus 24 is 45, 10 plus 10, 55. So the mean for this frequency table is 55 divided by 9. So the mean is equal to 6.11. Now the last objective of this topic is bar chart. A bar chart is a graph using bars to represent data. So, question. Create a bar chart using this table. You have the subjects math, English, science, and the number of students 20, 15, and 10 respectively. So to create the bar chart, you create a vertical axis and horizontal axis. You have to label the horizontal axis with the subjects. Alright, so I've labeled the horizontal axis with the subjects, and the vertical axis is where you put the numbers. So there are 20 students doing math. So you create a bar, draw a bar from the bottom up to 20. And I can put in a shade. Then English has 15 students. So draw another bar up to 15. And put in a different type of shade. And then science has 10 students. So from here, about that. And put in a different pattern. So this is how you construct bar charts. Last thing before ending the bar chart, if you're drawing any type of graph or chart, you have to always put a title. So the title for this is the number of students for each subject. You write the title relating to what the graph or chart is about. Now this is the end of topic 7, statistics, for the CSEC Maths Module 1 syllabus. My tips for this topic is to organize data neatly, use tables before calculating, show all working and label graphs properly, and read every question carefully. Do you remember how to find the mean? The mean is equal to the sum of the values divided by the number of values. So 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13, all divided by 5 because there are 5 numbers there, and the answer is 9.
So this is the last topic we'll be doing for this course, Introduction to Graphs. So this vertical axis here is called the y-axis, and the horizontal axis is called the x-axis, and the point 0, 0 is called the origin, and this is also called a coordinate plane where the x and y axis lie. These are the types of graphs you'll encounter. So you have the line graph, which we just did before. You have the parabola or hyperbola. You have bar graph and histogram. Now here's a key concept for line graphs. You're always going to have an x and y intercept. At some point, the line will cross the y-axis or the x-axis. So for this, the y-intercept is where x is equal to 0, and the x-intercept is where y is equal to 0. Now this is the equation of a line formula. So the general form of the equation of a straight line is y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. So this graph cuts the y-axis at -4, so the y-intercept is equal to -4, and the gradient is 6 divided by 2, so the gradient is 3. So the equation of line formula is y is equal to 3x minus 4. Lastly, these are the parts of a parabola graph. So the x-intercepts, otherwise called the roots, are -1 and 3 for this graph. The y-intercept is where the parabola cuts the y-axis at -3, and the vertex is the lowest point on the parabola. The axis of symmetry passes through the vertex, and it's a vertical straight line.